book was born from Jane's passion for helping people, and if there's something that she loves to do in life, it's helping people. What I liked about the book was that it drew together, in a sequence, all the pieces that you need to address to go from where you are to where you need to be. I'd not seen that before. I
think these days in Australia's fast-moving economy, you can't afford to wait for someone to just tap you on the shoulder and give you a promotion. You've really got to take control of your own career, understand what you're good at and what you're looking to do. So I think the benefit of Jane's book is it gives you a great framework to reflect on what you want to do, where you want to go, and give you the guiding tools to really help you on that journey.
I bought this book myself last year. I used this book and I just this week started a new role.
Jane's book's really interesting. I found it a very good read, and I think for people that are in that period of transition or in between jobs or at a stage where they're just unsure about where their career's going, it's a very powerful tool to allow them to start steering themselves in the right direction.
I'll tell you why, because at the start it asks you a whole lot of questions about you. And once you understand where Jane's trying to drive those questions from, then you start really starting to question yourself about what you're doing in your own life. And that, for me, really triggered a whole lot of thoughts.
I was in a little bit of a rut in my career, and I really wanted to get a role in management. So my personal friend said, "You got to meet my friend Jane and have a chat." We had one coaching session, and basically she didn't tell me what to do. What she did instead was ask me a number of questions to get me to a point where I knew exactly what I needed to do, and helped me prepare for the presentation that I needed to do in order to get the job. And I got the job.
Jane's fantastic. She's able to really help people get to the heart of what their issues are, what might be holding them back, and helps them to identify what their real passions and strengths are so that she can help them find a path forward that takes them in a direction they might never have thought possible, or to fulfil long-held goals that have probably been lying dormant for years.
I've known her as a really dynamic person and a very positive person.
She really nailed it, and it really shows in all of the chapters, you know, her passion and true care for people who are going through a career change and what she really wants to guide them through.
I mean, it was only last week that I actually gave it to a friend of mine in London who was going through a really hard time in their careers, and he said, "I cannot tell you how much it's helped me."
It's fantastic. It's such a pleasure to be here with Jane. When I met Jane, I just got such a great feeling about her, and the more I've got to know her, the more impressed I've been.
Coming from a large corporate organisation, where I was going through the process of determining what were going to be my next steps, and her guidance and advice, and more in particular the book these days, have helped me on my journey, which is all about starting my own practice around management consulting.
I've actually gone from working as a receptionist to working as a client services manager to starting my own business. And right from the very start, Jane has been very supportive. She's always been very encouraging, giving lots of advice, and yeah, it's been a fantastic journey, and she's an amazing woman.
Everything about this launch tonight reflects Jane's optimism, her motivation, on a focus on helping professionals in looking for new directions in their career, and I can't think of anyone better to do it than Jane Jackson.
Well, I met Jane over 15 years ago, a long-term public servant facing redundancy, and Jane led me into a completely new life. Well, Jane's been such an inspiration to me that I went through a period of not knowing where I was going. She gave me direction and she embedded a new life to me, and I'm forever grateful.
One of the sweetest people I've ever met, who genuinely cares. And to be in a room full of people that she has helped, and to hear their stories of the difference that she has made in people's lives, I think the book is a continuation of all the work that she has been doing.
You need to try something new if what you're trying isn't working. And that's where Jane comes into this, and that's where her book comes into this, because I applied those principles, and in 6 weeks had a call, numerous interviews, etc., and I started this week in my new role as GM. as GM Regulatory and Responsible Gambling for TABCORP, a role that I'm tremendously excited about, and thank you to Jane. And I would echo the comments of Brian. If you don't have this book, you must get it. If you know someone who needs a copy of this book, give it to them. And I recommend working with Jane. If what you're doing hasn't been working, you must try something different.
And seriously, amazing woman. I know you get embarrassed by this, but you are one of the nicest people I think most of us will ever meet.
Agree.